Warning, everything in this video and on this channel is for educational purposes only. All content is intended for viewers 21 years of age or older. All acts are performed by professionals, and all people shown are 21 years of age or older. All acts are performed under the legal Chapter 67(8)(d) here in Nevada. Please do not attempt to recreate or reenact anything you see on this channel.
Welcome to From the Stash Podcast. In this episode today, we're going to dive into the genetics that help make your favorite genetics. People don't realize that the lineage, what happened, the history of what you're consuming is why you're consuming it. So we're going to break that down in this episode. But before we do that, we're going to do a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Pigeons 420. Mr. Grow It. From the Stash Podcast.
Step into the light of the future with AC Infinity's Ion Frame LED Grow Light. Powered by industry-leading Samsung LM301H EVO diodes, it delivers unparalleled brightness and efficiency. Designed for serious growers, it offers a full spectrum of coverage, precise scheduled controls, as well as innovative sunrise and sunset dimming for a natural light cycle. Its modular, easy-to-manage system ensures optimal heat dissipation and seamless integration with all the smart grow setups that AC Infinity already offers. Experience growth without limits and results that speak for themselves. AC Infinity's Ion Frame EVO Series lights illuminate your path to exceptional yields and dank quality. Learn more at acinfinity.com and use discount code THESTASH15 at checkout to save some money on your order.
Are you a grower? Are you tired of lugging around too many bottles? Is it too expensive? Is it so confusing? Tired of reading feed charts? Well, guess what? There is an easier way. Introducing the Stash Blend. You can now get your bag of Stash Blend premium additives that you can add to your garden using just about any base nutrients. Go to stashblend.com and get your order today.
Fellas,
We're back.
welcome.
Hey.
Welcome. Boom.
Good to see you, boys.
This is my water place now.
There we go.
Yes,
There we
this
go.
is actually an amazing Seasman coaster. Big shout out to Seasman helping us get out here. Discount code THESTASH if you don't see behind P. He's too big.
I'm a huge...
He's too damn big. When I was over there, you guys could see it perfect, couldn't you? I mean, obviously. But no, big shout out to them for believing in what we're doing. And that kind of, honestly, them being a part of this mission here makes me want to discuss more genetics.
Genetics,
I just want to get
baby.
into it. People are confused. They've lost the touch of the originals and what made what's popular.
Yeah.
So I think we should tap on that.
Genetics. It's really all about it. And, if you're looking for a particular flavor profile, particular effect, you're going to look at the genetics and you're going to look at the listing and, naming off some of the more popular ones these days and finding out, okay, who are the parents? What characteristics are they famous for? You know what I mean? I think that's going to be a great conversation.
Yeah. And especially, again, recently we talked about land races. So we went into some of the originals and the things that made these characteristics what they are and talked about preservation. And really a lot of these genetics kind of have preserved some of the original traits. The problem is they've been oversaturated now too. When we're talking about, again, old school, we'll talk Afghani. That being something that's been bred into a million things, nobody even knows Afghani had any part of anything. They just know the parent that they saw, the next one. Something into a blueberry, like Thai with Afghani. They'll know that. We'll talk about DJ Short's blueberry. But no one will realize the parents of that. And that's where I think you can find what's going to give you those traits that are desirable. If you don't know where it's coming from, you won't know how it's going to grow. That'll help me knowing like a farmer's almanac. Like I'm going to be able to predict this one could have these stretchy, gangly traits. Or, well, of course it's going to be low and squatty. It's the Pakistan Valley cross. If you don't have the lineage and know where it came from, you don't even know how to grow it. You're just a consumer, which isn't bad. I mean, you can be a consumer. I'm just saying it's tough. You got to arm yourself with valuable information.
100%. And you know what? I love having a conversation around this beautiful plant of ours because, as someone who gets into growing and has been in growing for quite some time, even I have a hard time trying to find some of the original genetics of a lot of these greats. And I'm surprised when I hear, White Widow, for example. It's a Brazilian land race as well. Crossed with like an Indian land race. So you've got two land races, brings us a White Widow that everybody knows, but even I had no idea that it was actually composed of two land races.
Yeah, it didn't take so much to make them. Again, with the hazes like 4 different land races together. So it's like This brings you back as close as you can get to a landrace, but then created more of the popular genetics. Without this hybrid, you wouldn't have had the next ones. You'll see like the project I've been working on for too long that I should abandon. The Sherbert the Pervert, I'm calling it. So that's the East Coast Sour Diesel and Tom Hill Haze crossed. Then that being crossed with Sherb Cream Pie, which is a Sherb BX1 and ice cream cake cross. So it's a cross of a cross with a cross of a cross. It's almost too far, but you can trace back where those original ones came from. The problem is knowing the traits that are coming from it, I'm creating my version of an F1. Too many variables to say that this is guaranteed to give you the old school effect of East Coast Sour Diesel. Sour Diesel is a prime example. That being in Headbanger, Biker Kush and Sour Diesel, Headbanger, you got to take a dab every time I say it. That one is like, if you get the traits out of it that lean towards the Sour Diesel, you have to hunt for it. It's not guaranteed. You don't always have it. But if you get it, it's so original Sour Diesel with a hint of the Kush that makes you remember why this one's popular. It's just, if you don't like Sour Diesels, don't even get into that. You need to know the parents first.
And if you can't grow well, don't even get into it, because Sour
true.
Diesel is historically one of the more difficult ones to grow. I mean, I had a Sour Diesel before, and it was struggling compared to all the other plants I had in the same grow space. And come to find out, after doing a little bit more research, a lot of people have difficulty with having that plant grow successfully. And so it does certainly do your research in regards to genetics if you're going to be growing them or even like breeding with them, right? And really, I think it goes back to pollen chucking versus ethical breeding, right? Because you could sit there and take couple crosses and cross them blindly, not know what you're looking for, and just see what you get, right? That's pollen chucking versus doing your research, finding what characteristics are in each genetic, then doing the cross, and then kind of seeing what you get in the offspring and see if those characteristics that you're looking for are actually in there or not,
Yeah. Well, again, Shillet OG is what I call it because I say it so damn much. The Pakistan Valley is what I got the most of. P got the brisker, but it was strategic breeding that brought that out. So you can tell me what I should expect. It's like, well, you could get this. Like, man, the first time I ordered, I think it was Blueberry Muffin. Yeah, Blueberry Muffin from Humble Seed Company. That one, every single portion of what they said I should expect, it was. It literally, like everything, I'm like, oh, wow, they know this genetic. This was very calculated in how they did it. Versus other ones, it'll be like, well, you could get a coffee version. You could get lemon version. You could get gas versions. It's like, dude, I'm gambling here. I've got a 1 in 50 chance of getting what you're advertising. Like by having strategic breeding, we can calculate this stuff. White Widow was a prime one that there was a Blue Widow. So blueberry crossed with White Widow. So 2 land races creating this and this coming together. That was really cool. But then the Blue Widow crossed with Chocolope. That it creates another, and then another, and now I don't even have the White Widow traits.
God, I haven't heard Chocolope.
Remember
so
Chocolope?
Long. Yeah,
I know.
Yep,
Like these
I
are
had
names
Chocolope.
like old school, Agent Orange. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Again, the Sour Diesels always stand out, but a real OG Kush. A lot of people don't realize that came from the Hindu Kush, and I think it's Chemdog and Hindu Kush together create an OG. No, I'm messing that one up. Drop below in the comment section if you're watching this. But those traits remain. Cushy flavor is a description. You know what I'm saying? And that comes all the way through. The difference now is the flower time, the way it stacks, the color, things like that. But you don't lose that trait because you strategically are keeping it on that family and that line. I think if more people had that thought process, like we talked in the landrace video of preservation of these genetics, they would breed with intention more. So they're like, well, I'm going to make sure that this is on my White Widow line. This is on my Girl Scout cookie line. Like it'll remain this flavor, but a slight variation. Swank's done a great job of that with the papaya syrup and like 5 different genetics.
Mm-hmm.
So you can really get a hint of the sweet that you remember, but then there's also this new flavor sprinkled on top,
We talk about the Sour Diesel. I know that Ocean Grown took the Sour Diesel and they crossed it, and they did San Andreas Diesel, and they kind of bred out some of the difficulties that Sour Diesel struggles with, and that's knowing your homework, understanding what you're dealing with, and then creating something that counters its negative attributes. And that's San Andreas Diesel. Great grower. I trained the living daylights out of it, and it loved every minute of it. So
Yeah,
knowing your
doggo.
homework.
Well,
And-
Doggo had that one outside, and he was like, holy crap, look at the growth. He's like, this one's already done.
Yeah.
Wow. But it's, again, strategic breeding to put you in a position to maintain the effect and flavor or the characteristics you're after, while giving you these new traits, breeding out the bad, breeding in the good. If you're just pollen checking, you're probably going to, it's like random breeding with people. You know, might have 3 great kids and one that comes out handicapped. Like, it could happen. You got to look at the lineage of the person and the family and how your health is and everything. Plants have the same type of genetic code in that sense. You can strategically breed these together. I don't want something that always is susceptible to stress at all times. Like, it's a tough feeder. Sour diesel tends to be that one for me. Or light stress, little things that no other plants deal with, but this one does. So you have to adapt your growing style for these original pieces of the genetic code. I want to see more people take some of these and make them easy for us home growers, because the indoor grow climate is what it is. From my house to your house, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to keep it the same. AI controller from AC Infinity, I'm going to do photo period. I'm going to do flower. It's not going to be like, are you in Las Vegas or are you in Michigan? You know what I'm saying? So we don't have these needs to acclimate to the regions to keep these things. Now we need to breed down, not breed out, but breed down to preserve the good part and get rid of that we don't want, you know? That'd be beautiful.
Yep.
So I have a list of some of these episodes I like to do research. You know,
Good. We're just
especially-
talking out of our ass.
Yeah.
You know?
But there's a couple that I definitely think we need to name here in this episode that are really popular, right? Girl Scout cookies.
Mhm.
This is one that I think a lot of folks that are tuning into this have grown at one point, you know, and unfortunately there are so many variations now. I grew it up before and I don't even think I got the real one. But Girl Scout cookies parents are Durban Poison crossed with OG Kush. Why it's popular: sweet, earthy aroma with a balanced euphoria and relaxation. And the one I got was from ILGM. And we all know ILGM, the white label, and they're kind of creating their own. And so who knows if they actually got the actual parents, the correct parents, and who was the breeder from ILG. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't grow their genetics anymore. This was many, many years ago. But, you know, if you are looking to grow some of these popular genetics, such as Girl Scout cookies, for example, do your research and figure out who was the original breeder on it. You know, who's the original source? Because if you search on Seed Finder, you search Girl Scout cookies, for example, you can see a long list in all different breeders, right? Who was the first one to do it? Who's actually putting into work to find its parents and actually breed the correct Girl Scout cookies?
Well, and it's a similar thing where it's like, what was the parent you used to create that? Because it could be you grab the Durban Poison, you grab the OG, but it's not the ones. You know what I'm saying? It's somebody's replica, but it's Durban Poison, but it's not the exact one. You need those real parents. It's like having 2 brothers or sisters that are same parents, but they're just slightly different. That just is the way it is. I think you look at a Durban Poison, a prime example, breeding Girl Scout cookies, you've got down to cherry pie. Cherry pie then will work down to something like a gelato. And they've all, like, it's traceable back where you can see, and then it's like, oh, well, these traits that I really like from this are with this for the flavor, but not for the growth at all. Or just for the growth, but not for the flavor. Now it's a whole new thing. If there were more people who were willing to be transparent, I feel, instead of hiding because in this commercial space especially, you want to be the next best thing. So if somebody's just saying, oh, this is just another Runts cross, now you're competing with a million Runts crosses. So they'll just say, oh, this is a particular cut of a random thing I got from a breeder, or we've had it for 20 years and Humboldt, you know, it's the best. Well, it's probably a seed that's available everywhere. You just found a pheno you want to use. Girl Scout cookies is a prime example that I've had a million versions of Girl Scout cookies, and I could tell you right away when I consume it which one is real. Immediately. Just like, again, a Kush, a GMO, you get a GMO, I will let you know if that's GMO or not. Like, you just know. The taste is unmistakable. But now people don't even have that original reference to know what it's like. Like, no, this is Camos. It's like, no. Lies is what it is.
It's sad. It's really sad. I remember they remind me of a story with Envy Closet Med Grower.
Mhm.
You guys met. We all hung out with him. He's a super cool dude. He's living in Vegas. He's a friend IRL in real life. And one time, this was probably back in 2018, 2017, where we were hanging out. And I had gotten Blue Dream from a dispensary. That's another one that's actually on my list here. The parents on that are Blueberry crossed with Haze. So, really
Originals.
super popular. Smooth, uplifting high with a berry sweet flavor. Yeah. When he smoked mine, immediately he's like, this is not Blue Dream. He's like, I know Blue Dream. I've had cuts from the breeder on Blue Dream. This is not Blue Dream.
This ain't it.
So like when you're going to dispensaries and you're getting some of these things that are labeled as Blue Dream or Girl Scout cookies or gelato or whatever, you might not even be getting the
They're
actual
probably
thing.
not.
It's
They're
sad.
most
It's
likely
very
not.
sad.
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate.
Dude,
Because that's how we're losing things now. Because it's like we have the cut, but very traceable, but the information's lost because the breeder doesn't want to share it.
Well, and that's where you see in the commercial setting, somebody keeps up with the Joneses, they'll get a cut of a mislabeled genetic. And then now this is circulating to everybody as this is the original one. It's like, well, that's not the original person. You're giving credit to one that has nothing to do with it. Like, again, we talked about, and this is controversial, but like TGA with Miss Jill and with Subcool, are you getting exactly what he had? Some say no, there was a fire, he didn't have it. Others say that she's created her new versions and her own versions. Is it going to be what you remember as the flavor? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe this is the new standard of what it is. It's very common to see somebody put their version out, their interpretation of what this was. You know, we'll take a hit of something and someone's like, I taste grape and candy and this and that. I'm like, I taste soil and gas and kush. Is like, oh man, I taste cotton candy. How do you get that? It's different palettes, different interpretations of these IPs, so to speak. When you get bred down, like these original ones we're talking, there's 2 land races or 2 offsprings of land races that created them. Now it's this hybrid crossed with this hybrid, back crossed into this hybrid with this one. It's like, damn, well, now I've got 1,000 different variables. I might not be able to get what I'm looking for, you know? But how do we then, you want to just make another White Widow by taking those 2 same parents? Because they're not going to have a million phenotypes because there's the land races, you know? How do you then create the new thing without outbreeding further and further and further down the line, you know? It's tough. We only have the 10 breeders then. That would be, if it was down to that, it'd be like we'd have 10 breeders because they have access to the originals. Otherwise, everything else is just watered down replicas.
And you also have to hope that there's no mix-ups that happen. So that happened to me with specifically Miss Jill. So I had purchased what I thought was Chernobyl, and I was growing it as Chernobyl, and I was making videos onto it and announcing to my audience, and I really didn't know that there was a mix-up that happened with it, and it was actually Queen Anne's Revenge.
Ooh.
So
It's dramatically different cultivar.
I was talking with Miss Jill over DMs. This was so many years ago now. And she had mentioned there's a mix-up, and she apologized and stuff like that. But like, that's huge, right? You think you're growing one thing, and you think you're using it for breeder project, and then they've come to find out it's something completely different. Like, that's just sad. You know?
Now the new norm for that particular cultivar is what you've put out there. And
Right.
somebody's like, no, this is legit Chernobyl,
Yeah.
dude. I've got it from
It's
Mr.
just
Grow It.
So much misinformation can happen.
Let alone
Ugh.
human error. Like
Right.
I can't even count how many times I've been popping beans and I forget to label one.
Oh,
And
and
then
then
I-
just go based on what you assume
then
it is from the smell.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I was like, I'll figure this out in flour.
Yeah, dude, I did that with the GMO, or not the GMO, the Moby Dick and the Gorilla Glue, whatever it was. But I know the Moby Dick terp, so once it was finished, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this is it. But the whole grow,
Not a clue.
I'm pointing it out in our updates on AC Infinity Show, pointing at the wrong one every time. I was like, that yellow bean run right there, that's that G for Gorilla Glue, sucks. And I was like, oh no, it was the Moby Dick and it was fire. Shoot.
yeah.
Oh,
Right.
I just messed up on it. That was the one that was auto watered that the water wasn't getting to, so I was hand watering it. That was 100% on me. not
Human
the
error
genetics.
happens. Human error
But
happens.
if I
And that's a
mislabeled
mix-up.
that, took cuts, clones,
Yep.
whatever, like I used to do, give it to a buddy, they grow it out, they influence their circle to think this is what the original genetic is. Well, guess what? We just messed up the whole market via accident. It's not via somebody trying to
Malicious.
bogart it. And
Yep. Not
it's
malicious.
like, this is the thing, is we're all consumers, stoners, and over time, stoner moments happen.
They do.
So if we get to the point where we lose the genetics, it's somebody who's probably 70 years old, who like an old school deadhead, been traveling, doing all this stuff, and it's like end of life, and they're like, oh, this was.
That's not that.
Because seeds are seeds are seeds. They all look the same. Cuts look the same. You know what I'm saying? It's only once it's older. So it's like some of these, unless you know what the original is, and how do you know? Unless you know the breeder. Blue Dream's a prime example. Me and P have said how we don't like it. I bet you we've always had the wrong
Wrong
one.
one. I've had other people say that what you're describing is not blue.
Yeah, I know. Like I'll hate on a
Straight up.
haze. I'll be like, this is real hazy. Like, no, it's not. Like, what do you? That's not a haze, brother. And I'm like, oh, I've always thought it was because my old plug told me this was a haze. It's literally just misinformation, and there's no way to know by looking at a video, by reading a forum, an article. You literally have to experience it.
And then there's the misinterpretation too. One of the very first ones I ever grew was a cotton candy.
Oh yeah.
And there was the misinterpretation that it was going to be sweet. It was going to taste like cotton candy. But the reality is that it was sweet like candy and soft like cotton. So that was how it was. But I was thinking, here I'm growing this cotton candy. I'm going to have this cotton candy, but I didn't. So it's like, just misinterpretation of the effect versus the name. Because I'm trying to go off names these days. Like one of my favorites is green crack. Well, what is green crack? Well,
What does crack taste like?
Yeah. Well, let me
know.
tell you. It's a skunk crossed with an Afghan. You know, Afghans in everything. And it's like once you hear, oh, green crack is a skunk and an Afghan?
Now it makes sense why it's funky
like,
and danky.
yeah, and
But then you
so
go
resinous.
get one. My first plant I ever grew that I fell in love with was green crack. Turns out it was Holy Grail Kush. Somebody just called it that. So for years, I was getting green crack and growing it, and it wasn't that particular flavor. And I'm like, what the hell, man? It was only one day, my former buddy's brother passed me the L, and I'm like, green crack. And he's like, no, this is DNA's Holy Grail Kush. I'm like, how? How for 10 years, 5 years, I've been searching, going through the totally wrong path. And then I buy one pack, find it. I'm like, okay. So misinformation, my brain has attributed a flavor that is not even connected to this cultivar until I get it. That was the Sin Mint cookies for me that hit way more Girl Scout cookies than the Girl Scout cookies that I was getting at the time. And I was like, this is the flavor. Why don't they have this? And it's like, oh, well, because this was just relabeled mids. That somebody called GSC when it's nothing to do with that. If you can't even trace back the lineage of these genetics unless you've tried it. It really is the case. Like, I can't just go based on the description because that's like somebody saying something like, this will have an earthy, subtle flavor of XYZ. It's like, that's, again, their interpretation.
Yeah.
You know, they may taste it a little different because when I taste it, it tastes more sweet. And now you're telling me the description is saying what I'm tasting is wrong. It really is an experience thing. All of us who are longtime consumers, we've tried, didn't even realize was what it was. Durban poison is one that we've smoked so many times and didn't know, but it's been in the parents. Another one for me that I always said I wasn't a huge fan of was blueberry. Blueberry being crossed in so many different genetics, it's whitewashed the blueberry flavor. So it's gone. And now it's just like the bud structure, the growth, maybe the cerebral effect, but it's like I never get a blueberry flavor unless it was, again, blueberry muffin, DJ Short's blueberry. There's a blueberry pancakes, but most of them have the name and there's nothing related to the flavor. Never. You guys ever notice that where the lineage doesn't match? It's so washed out that you don't even, it's like, how is this? It's got Girl Scout cookies in it? Or this has OG Kush in it? Like, where? I taste the Brisker and the Pakistan old school nostalgic in yours. But then I'll have something else that's like, again, supposed to be White Widow. And I'm like, why does this just taste like nothing dramatic? Because the old school stuff was the very unique, sharp, specific to that category. Why is this watered down like nothing now? Just a name. And they probably never had the original dank one, you know?
Yeah. Gets muddy.
Yep.
It gets muddy. And that's why I like jumping into these genetics. You have a couple more in that list?
Yeah.
A couple more, and
I
then I
wanna
got to
hear.
go consume mine.
What we got?
Yeah, let's see. We've got, just name off 3 here and we could talk about whichever one we want. Gelato, which is Sunset Sherbet crossed with Thin Mint GSC.
Yeah, so that's the Girl Scout, again, prime example.
Yeah.
If without the original, you don't get down to the new hot. Gelato's in everything now. You wouldn't have had that without the Girl Scout, but then you wouldn't have had that without the Durban. Like it goes to the point where like, if we keep breeding out those further, everything's a gelato flavor. It's like, man, everything's cookies. It's a Girl Scout cookie. Like it's all cookies when you trace back. And then that's all a Durban. You know, it's like these are the traits you're tasting. You don't even know you're tasting that you love.
And that's popular for its creamy, fruity taste, which, yeah, I mean, I think everybody
You know?
kind of agreed on that one with the gelato. Wedding cake, that's Triangle Kush crossed with Animal Mints. So, geez, I don't know how long I've been talking about wedding cake for. I mean, that's super popular over the years. I mean, it seems like everybody used wedding cake for their crosses as well.
And that's what I'm saying. Like you find these genetics. We should, again, drop that in the comment section. Should we talk about like hot lines of genetics, like the cakeys, the cookies, the
Permanent
runts.
markers.
No, now everything has the marker in it.
Right?
Dude, it's crazy. Like this last year, everybody has permanent marker in something. I'm like, how did you breed it that fast? How did you already release this? Like, I don't know, man. It's crazy. The new hot strain has already been hybridized twice.
And in Europe.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But that's the thing. Did they have it originally, or they just took a hot name that similar traits? It's just a real similar, but it's not the same flavor. You know, I'm convinced Sherb Green Pie and Permanent Marker are phenotype differences. That it's the same shit. Because man, that flavor and look is just spot on. What you got?
Runts. Skittles crossed with gelato.
See, and there's gelato being
There's
more.
gelato. Yeah.
Further whitewashed.
Candy-like
Washed
sweetness.
Yep.
High potency and colorful. So yeah, this is we get into the generation where people are breeding for color, right? I mean, it's been 5-10 years now where it's really people have been shifting to color. And I think we had a conversation not too long ago talking about like the 90s and stuff, how people they didn't want purple in their bud at all, right? They wanted to to be green.
Yeah.
And now it's flip-flop, right? People want the more exotic type look or the different colors. Purple in particular is very common. Some will go black, you know? So.
Well, now it's, again, just like we said before, now it's circling back. People are like, bring back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you oversaturate too much. You water down too much, and it gets boring. People will capitalize until they can't, until the market says no. And it's us as consumers and cultivators to say, we want better smoke. So we're not going to take this shit. We're not going to take it. No.
We're not.
We ain't going to take it.
The thing is, too, is like we don't get to dictate what happens in the consumer market. The majority of consumers, in my humble opinion, doesn't care about the taste, doesn't care about really the smoke in general. They just want a high. They just want to get that. They want to get a hit. You and I like that peanut butter breath, that GMO, that funky, decaying nastiness.
Yeah, nasty, funky, that gooey stuff.
Karen doesn't want that. Karen doesn't want to open up maybe, but she doesn't. She wants to be able to use that in the convenience of the minivan while she's taking the kids to school or to soccer practice, and not have all the kids reek like a decaying animal.
That too.
That's very important.
Well, and have it so you can hide it, and it's something in your home that's not like found the bud. Yep. Like I used to have my dog find my mom's stash, like a drug sniffing dog, and she would find it immediately. I'd be like, Patches, come on, Patches, let's go find the bud. Let's go find the bud. Perk up and go run in there.
Oh my god!
Every time you open up,
she was at, I was like, "This is it."
Every time you open up that peanut butter breath, I feel like that's me. I'm like,
I know. Literally, every time it's open, Pete's head flips over. He's like, "Oh, I hate that. I love it.
It's so nasty. I love
Disgustingly
it so
good."
Much. Yeah, we talked about in a couple episodes in regards to like trying to pinpoint particular lineages so that we could have those effects, and could we manage it and store that information. And it's like I do think we'll get to a point where it's like we mentioned through tissue culture, being able to tie these back and saying, yeah, definitively skip the gelato. This is a what did you say, Durban, or what kind of gelato?
Girl Scout and Durban.
Skip the gelato, skip the Girl Scout cookies, get straight to the Durban, right?
But that's where, again, that endocannabinoid system that we have, that tiny little altering effect of now it's a little fruitier with the creamy, like that may be what now nurtures and rubs that G spot in their brain that didn't quite as much. It was too intense. They had anxiety from it. That it gave them a lethargic feeling, or their heartbeat was too crazy. You look at Bendo having issues with the certain consumption.
Anxiety.
Could be that his endocannabinoid system blood pressure does not match with the particular type of flower. So you do need to breed out.
Get rid of
to
that.
dial it in. But then now we've lost touch with the pieces that were bred out because they don't have the profitability. That's sadly what it boils down to. The passionate few will keep it going. Unfortunately, we can't be the bank of where you have to come and let me try it to know it's legit. Science has to back it. So our cannabinoids have to be measurable. The DNA code has to be documented somewhere so you can say, all right, this is lineage of a Girl Scout cookies or of Durban. So I know, like, well, anything I smoke of this makes me go to sleep or gives me stress. Like, so I don't even want any of this family.
Sign me up to be the smoke shop.
Oh man, if they just have to drop, send me a sample like Farmer Freeman, but it's just they just send me a little vial.
But you sit on a stone. You have to be on a stone on the top of a mountain top, and they bring you the long lineup of people, and they're all bringing you something. Kush.
No filter, so you eat a little bit of it too.
Afghan.
Yes.
Afghan.
Can
Indeed.
confirm.
Yes, that'd be great. Sign me up. I'm all over that.
I think
that'd be
that there's going to be a point of that because of profitability will come, I think. But maybe not us consuming. It should be, though. But I just don't think we're quite there yet. People are still okay with, all right, well, let's take the gelato and breed it with the other popular one. Because that's what'll be hot on paper.
There has to be a database in the future where we can literally cut off a leaf sample, send it in, and they're going to give us our genetic history back.
Yeah.
That's got to be the future, right? It's like that. It's probably going to be the standard in the future where breeders are going to actually clip off before they even start working on a particular, they have a plant that they like before they even continue on using it for any type of breeding project. Well, clip off the sample, send it out for testing, see what the genetic makeup is of it. And then you can decide whether or not you want to work on it or not.
Well, and notice your possibility. Again, this is where AI comes in. What's the probability of the results? Let me see the mathematic probability of there's this many genetics, this far back of probability of variables. How many phenotypes could I get out of this? And be like, thousands, whatever. It's measurable if we know our lineage. It literally is like, well, this is 4 land races. So yeah, we could get this many expressions. But now it's a land race with a hybrid, with a hybrid, with a hybrid, with a hybrid. Well, now we got a million potential options, or maybe not because these cannabinoids don't bind properly to give you a new terpene. I think that's where the next step of evolution is isolating these cannabinoids, which then will give us identification factors. Until then, a sample of the plant has to be registered like a licensing. In backyard grower, random dude is not necessarily going to want to go and be on the radar. Somebody in a prohibition area who's still making fire genetics overseas somewhere in the UK maybe, they don't want to be on the radar. But how then do we solidify that this is the authentic genetic? That's legalization, unfortunately. But legalization doesn't come with cultivation for us home growers usually.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool to be like 23andMe. You submit in a sample, and then all of a sudden you see, okay, I'm 25% Italian. I'm 13% Portuguese.
Yeah, it's like this is
if it broke it down to the
just regions even,
just
maybe not
regions,
the names.
just the land races that it goes back to. 23% South Africa, Durban poison, for example. 15% from the Hindu Kush region.
That seems so doable.
Well, how can I find out?
That'd be cool.
Maury knows if it's the baby daddy or not. There's tests out there.
Let's get Maury's people.
Maury. Yeah, man. I think it's a brilliant one, boys. And like people who are listening or watching, let us know some of the famous ones for you that it's this category of the genetic. You know what I'm saying? I want to do a video on that, breaking down, like, again, let's go through the runts lines. Let's talk about 5 of the popular runts genetics that not isn't just like blue runts, purple runts, green, like something that really ties back to that. Or again, the gelato lines, like the Gelato BX1 is the closest to the gelato flavor that I've had from Zeedsman, where I'm like creamy, pine, gas, all the flavors
and
together.
Mine was black.
Yeah.
The gelato was black.
I know, but it's like there's something about the preservation of flavors for me that I get they're not as popular, but damn it, if I want a gelato, I want just gelato. If I want Girl Scout cookies, I don't want to have to order it knowing in my mind that it's not likely that I'm really getting it. Maybe, but it's a surprise when you get something again, like Seedsman coming out with these original, like the sour diesel. I've got that growing right now. It sure as fuck grows like a sour diesel. Like it's got all the traits where I'm like, oh no. Like I'm happy, but I'm like, why do I keep doing this to myself? Why am I putting stress in my life? But I know what I like in the end smoke. So if I know I can get this original or close to original, the closest replica you could find, I'm okay. But damn it, stop putting wrong names on genetics that aren't what they are.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's going to be very interesting to see where we go in the future in regards to how do we use these hybrids to come up with the next best thing, the next big thing. It's only 2025. We haven't been exploring this plant for really that long, if you think about it, because growth cycles can only happen so many in a year, and the reality is we haven't been able to grow like we haven't been able to grow like we are today ever in history. So I think this is just the beginning. Like personally, if I was going to do a project, I don't think I would use a Brazilian land race or an Indian land race. I might just start with White Widow because it brings the two best quality, or it brings two great genetics together with desirable traits for me. Let's go from there.
Well, and that's like, again, an example for like clothing, your hat. Like they didn't go in there with they start with the 50 colors to make that particular pink shade, but then it's that pink shade. Then they add that blue that already is 50 other blues, but it's just that blue. you have to, if we don't know that hybrid that's already been created is authentic, you don't want to start with that point. Then you want to go all the way back to the original landrace, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Or that, like we talked about in the landrace episode, or you find that landrace to cross back into the one that has those traits so you get closer to the original one. I just can't trust that a random seed company just all of a sudden has a landrace in seed form. I'm like, how do you, what? And this is authentic? Like, who are you, random brand? But it's the trust you have to do in these days to get it. You got to go through the trenches to find these genetics, or hope that you're going to find the original breeder who's probably dead. You know, like the genetic died with them and their predecessor may have bred it out and they don't have or they won't sell the original. You know, without Skunk Man, Skunk would have been gone. Without him handing it off to another person, that genetic is gone. It's bred out. You get what you get. You don't throw a fit. If there's people who will be those OGs who will come out of the shadows and aren't afraid of prosecution and persecution and being treated poorly, we can do this. But right now it's the youngins that are like, nah, I need that hot, that purple. The YCs will say, and they're too out of control with the next hot thing. They don't care about the preservation. It's a bag, popularity, TikTok, Instagram. Let me look hot. You know, no cap.
That's why knowing
Dead ass.
your lineage is so important. Knowing where you come from, where your genetics come from, is a great start to knowing where you're gonna go.
Brilliant, boys. I like this conversation. We could potentially have a second one if we really got down into the nitty gritty of each particular
Love to
strain.
get like a Todd McCormick on. I'd
Todd?
love to have something like that.
Todd, pull up.
Yeah,
That'd
Todd,
be awesome.
Pull up on us.
We'll fly to you.
So with that being said, huge shout out to Seasman again for helping us be able to put this together. Discount code the Stash. You're looking for anything genetic wise or Stash Blend because we have it available there now as well. And big shout out to you, all of our patrons, all the people who show love and help make this happen.
It's you, our members. Thank you guys. We
Thank you,
appreciate
members.
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
That's your boy Rob from CLtv, Pigeons 420, Mr. Grow It. We will see you guys next time. Stay lifted. Peace.
Peace.